Hi, and welcome to Little Bit Honeybee's YouTube channel. Today's November 27th. It's about 20 degrees out here. The wind is blowing like crazy. It's snowing. On the 24th of November, it was up to 65 degrees. The bees was flying good, and I got them the last oxalic acid treatment for the year. Today's project is we're going in the wood shop and do some cleaning up. And we're going to make Denten 3-hole queen cages out of scraps. Before we started, I had a pretty good scrap pile here. I've already went through it. As you can see, I've already got a bunch of them roughed out. But this is just all 1x scrap. You're going to throw it in the wood pile anyway, so you might as well use it. If you raise queens and you have to buy these cages, you buy them by the thousand, or about $368 a thousand. If you buy them less than 1,000, you're going to pay a lot more for that. So we're going to whip out a couple thousand of them here today with the scrap. And not many days. You can take a day like today when it's cold outside. You got the heat on in here, 70 degrees, and make $600–700 as a beekeeper. So you got to use all the resources you can. I'll get this thing set up and we'll kind of go into detail what we're going to do. Okay, for anybody that don't know what a Denten 3-hole cage is, this is what most people ship queens in. Some people use the JZ Easy plastic cages, but your queen will come. It's got a wire that staples over the top of this, and then you got a cork in both ends, and there'll be candy in this hole. And this is how I ship my queens. If you buy queens from me, you'll get them in. This is a homemade cage right here. Can't hardly tell any difference than a factory one. And the wire you use for this, the wire that comes on a package is the exact right mesh size, and I cut it and sat in the winter time at the computer when I'm piddling around and cut the wire out. They're all ready to go. So the first step we're going to do, this is all 1x material, 3/4 thick, and we're going to rip a bunch of boards out 1 3/16 inches wide. That's how wide I make my Denten cages. Kind of go over here and get the saw set up. We'll rip a few. Now, anytime you're using power equipment, you need to be safe. Power tools respects nobody, and they'll cut your fingers off, put your eyes out. I've got my glasses on. I've got my push sticks. When you're cutting boards, the thickness of the board, don't leave your blade stick out too much past the thickness of your board. Just a good tip like that. This is not a safety video, but you got to use your own head. I've made a lot of woodworking wares over the years. 63 years, and I still got all my fingers, so I'm fairly safe. But we just got a bunch of 1x scrap here. We're just going to run through here and rip a few of them out. And this is a scrap piece now, and what we got. We just got an inch and 3/16 wide. Next step will be to cut it to length. I'm going to pause the camera, finish ripping the rest of these out, and I'll be back with you in a little bit. When we're back, we got all this stacked up here. It's probably enough to do maybe a couple thousand queen cages here. The next step we're going to do, we're going to get over here on the radial arm saw and got a stop set up, and you're going to cut them to length. The length on these are 3 3/16. A lot of you thinking back on your mind, you say, that's a lot of work to make these. Yeah, but it's winter time. You got to have something to do. I got to stay busy. Saves me money in this bee business. There's not, you ain't gonna make a terrible lot of money. A lot of people think they're going to get into bees and just become rich. It ain't going to happen. You could have one hive split at one time and sell one nuke out of it. And sure, you're profitable for that year. You paid for you know when you sold the nuke. But that's a far cry from making a living at it. You can make a living decent if you got everything paid for, don't have a mortgage. A lot of learning curve in the bee business. It's a lot different than taking care of one hive or two, and you go up to 10. Well, that's fine. You go to 20. You run into a few more problems. But when you get above 20 hives, you run into problems you don't think about. You got to provide them all their food. If you got over 20 hives in one yard, you got to give them all the food and all sugar water and nectar and a lot of other things. And then when you go from that 50 to 100, there's learning curves in between there. So you got to kind of pinch corners where you can. I know a guy, and I'll not mention no names, last year was going into had a deal with Kelly's to make queens. And he went out and spent $30,000 on boxes and stuff on it. The first week he worked the bees, it was in June, it was a hot June, and he couldn't take the heat working the bees. Give it up. You know, so work into commercial slow. This will be my 5th year commercial. Been building boxes for all the 5 years. I just got them finished up here last week. You know, I'm up to about 600 boxes now. And I'm done building, I think. And this year should turn a pretty good profit. The years past, you take all the money you made, put back into building more boxes and whatever else you need, feed. You know, sugar or corn syrup, whichever you feed's not cheap. So I suggest you go into it slow, work your way up, feel through the problems, and definitely don't get into it if you don't like working the bees. If you love working the bees, the money's just extra. You got to enjoy the bees. Okay, we'll get on back to our project here. Okay, we're going to cut these to length. Double checking my measurement. We're right there at 3 3/16. Oh yeah, where's it? Yeah, 3 3/16. I'm going to shut this camera off for a while. As you can see, the stack we had, it's going to take a while to get through here, and we move on to the next step. Well, as you can see, we've got a few of them cut out. The next step is we got to drill a hole in the ends. You got to drill the end holes first, because if you don't, it'll split out when you drill the big holes. Need to lay out center both ways. I have printed me a 3D template. I really just got to mark one of them. Once we get the drill press set up like I do it, I don't have to have any more marks. Got that done. Shut this off and try to get set up over here on the drill press. Okay, I've got this set up over on a drill press. This is a machinist vise, so I can adjust it once I get the first hole drilled. We're drilling it with a 3/8 Forster bit. It's a wood bit, just got a little bitty point on it. Ain't like a paddle bit. Paddle bit, when you drill your big holes, will put holes through the bottom. But what we'll do, we'll drill this, and I'll just loosen that up a little bit, flip it, and line the edge up, and just keep drilling. I don't have to measure anything else. That's that one. We'll just take it. You can see we got our hose. We'll drill a couple of them. Make a minor adjustment on that. I mean, they're just queen cages, they don't have to be perfect. All there are to that. Now I'll shut this off and we'll get the other hose lined out. Okay, now on the other three holes, you measure the width of it and get your center line down through there. And you measure and get you a center point from end to endo. Then from that point, center point, you measure back that line 3/4 and 3/4, and that's your 3-hole layout. I like to get this thing all the way down in the bottom. It just makes it easier about dropping them in there. This drill press don't have a up and down adjustment on it. And I push that out right to the end. And the two ends I can flip around. They should be the same. Lock my screws up. That's pretty close. Now I'm going to run it out past the end, set my depth. Okay, it should have my depth set. I'm going to run this back out. Okay, let's turn it on and see what happens. Go just a little bit deeper. That'll work. Now we don't have to measure no more. Just pull up there to the end. Just that quick. Okay, now we got the one that we put the one center mark on. All we got to have is one laid out the way we're using this vise. Again, I'll line it up on the end, lock it in. Left and right should be alright. The only thing we got to change is this way. We just come in and crank this over. That should be it. Our depth doesn't change. Your depth will be the same and everything. I'll show you. This one here is just a little wider than the other one. I'm going to adjust it just a little bit. And there we have it, a perfect Denten 3-hole cage. Hey, that's about all there is to them. Of course, I make my corks. I buy 1/4-inch sheets of cork and take a metal stamp punch and punch out the 1/4-inch or 3/8 corks to go in these. If you like the videos, you know, hit the subscribe button, the bell next to it, and you get notified when we make more videos. I'm going to try, this is Tuesday the 27th, Thursday night the 29th at 7 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to try to do a YouTube live video question and answer. I've never used that platform before, so we'll get on there and see how it works, and bear with me. Thanks for watching.